Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Us 3 podcast. As you can tell, we're back in a different flat this time because we've got another guest. We've got Max Emerson Taylor from TikTok. You might recognise him from your For You page. He has over 1.1 million followers and he's Canada's own as well. Canada's own. So yeah, we've got him with us today and we're going to talk through just a few things with him really. How are you, Max? Are you alright? Everything alright?
Amazing, man.
Quality.
He's enjoying it. He's loving it.
He's loving
life in his car.
I mean,
he's loving it.
Perfect. Right. So, first of all, Max, we're going to start off with, because we briefed you before this, and we said about, we were going to say, if your life was a movie, how would it play out? So we're going to start from now on, wherever we have a guest, we're going to ask them to describe their life and run through it, and almost get them to go through what would be the main, like, almost crescendo type aspects of their life. So
I have a couple of questions before.
Well, and yeah, if you want to go into that.
Max, what genre of movie would your life be? What are we talking?
Yeah.
Comedy, action, satire, horror?
I feel like it would be a romantic.
Okay, nice.
Rom-com or like just straight romantic?
I think it'll vary from point to point. I think it's definitely an Academy Award winner.
Okay, all right.
Oscar award winning, would it be? Oscar award?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A couple Grammys thrown in there. You never know.
And then what about 15 plus, 18 plus, PG?
I'm talking X.
Wow.
X-rated.
I mean, we'd be able to watch it there. So
Yeah.
We'd be able to watch it. No kids though.
Is X 18 in the UK?
X is 18 plus,
yeah. Right,
You're going like gore,
Okay.
a lot of like,
we'd probably
A lot of death, a lot of killing,
a lot of nudity.
a lot of nudity.
we'd probably get ID'd if we're going into
Yeah.
it. We do look that young, we would get ID'd going into
The ironic thing is I'd probably get ID'd out before you two.
What is the drinking age in Canada? Is it 18? Because I know in America it's 21.
It's 18 in 2 provinces, and the province everywhere else it's 19. So usually 19.
Are you still being ID'd, or are you fine?
It depends. I mean, not as much anymore, but every now and then you'll go somewhere and they'll ID you. But like it's pretty rare. Like sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But when I get a little goatee going.
I was about to say that sort of goatee kind of work.
It is. I mean, people look at me and they're like, "That's just gross. I don't want to just take the alcohol."
I don't want to go near that. I mean, yeah.
I'm 19 and I'm not growing any facial hair anytime soon. So
To be fair, mine's not too bad. Hang on, like, what do you think of mine? Like, then what are you giving that out of 10?
That's taking him 2 years.
Yeah.
It's taking him 2 years.
Come on, out of 10.
Testosterone. That's testosterone.
Get in. Oh, there we
Testosterone
go.
out of 10.
Yeah, like, full of proof from the goatee man himself. What time to be alive? That's like, I'm going to drop out of uni now. I don't actually need to go to uni.
What have you done to the screen,
There
Jonny?
you go. That's better. Right, okay, so Max, your life's a movie. Go on, give us a run through. Give us a start
All right,
to
let me run it through. Young man, tiny baby boy, born in Toronto, Ontario, to Gary and Don. Beautiful couple. One's from Montreal, one's from Wimbledon, England. They do their thing. They make love. They have 2 boys. Me and my brother. Never really got along that much, but a great guy. Anyway, go to Toronto. Boom. Move to Newfoundland because we're broke as hell. My mom starts a business. Newfoundland, the business pops off. She's like, all right, now let's do our thing. Brother gets bullied. She's like, all right, now let's move to Halifax. I'm there like, all right, cool, bet. So then we go to Halifax. I go to this whack school, okay? It's like a private school, but it's like really hippy-dippy. I don't want to, actually that's mean to say, but it's true. It's like all the teachers are wearing Birkenstocks and you have to call them by their first name. Not about that life. Anyway, I'm like, I want to leave because I wear a tie to school every day because I'm a professional guy. They're like, why are you wearing a tie to school every day? I said, why are you talking to me, Heather? You know what? I'm not going to But anyway, so I go to an all-boys school. Super hyped. Spend the next 6 years there, graduate there. Super sick, after that, I'm like, fuck it, let's go to Queens. I go to Queens in Ontario. My graduating class in high school was 40 people. So I'm like, Queens is too big. That's like 38,000 people. I can't deal with this. I leave. I spend the next year just kind of doing my thing, spend the next half a year traveling a little bit, to go to England, see my roots, try and figure it all out there. Come back. I say, you know what? I'm ready to go to school. Go to school in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Bishops. Great school. Meet some great people. They're the best. I'm having a great time. After that, I'm like, all right, what's the next move? I leave to go to an advertising school to get a portfolio because I think I'm going to work in advertising. Halfway through that, My mom says, okay, I'm moving houses in Halifax. Can you come help me move? Yeah, bet, Mom. Of course. I go to Halifax. Pandemic starts. I can't leave. I'm stuck in this tiny little countryside cottage up in the boonies. What the hell am I going to do? I'm bored all day. I say, hold on a second. I'm going to make a couple videos to make my friends, oh, fuck. I said, there we go. I said, I'm going to make a couple videos to make my friends laugh. Boom, make a milk video. Boom, someone duets that's super famous. Hype. Boom, more people. I have all these jokes written down from throughout my life. I'm going to make them videos instead. Boom, do that. Things take off. Super sick. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. I wanna do some political stuff. So then I run for mayor in Halifax. Boom, super crazy. Got a ton of hate. Don't know why. I was actually pretty nice. Do the whole thing. The whole goal is I was trying to get people to vote, young people engaged and vote. A bunch of young people voted. Awesome. You know, raised. I added like tens of thousands of voters started voting more. Sick. I said, great. Now the political stuff is in the works. What else can I do? I'm such a mover and shaker. I gotta do something else. Oh my God, I got IBS. Let's put diarrhea on a t-shirt. And I'm like, wait a second. How am I gonna get a t-shirt that says diarrhea on the news? I start thinking. I start scheming. Boom, find a charity. They're an IBS charity. I say, listen, can I donate to you? They're like, hell yeah. Call the news. News is like, we love it. Get on here. So now I'm on all the news stations in my city with a t-shirt that says diarrhea. Now I'm chilling. Take a break from TikTok for a little bit. Slow build up to get back into it. But we're working on it. And here I am, living life.
Side of car.
In your car.
That was fucking. I'd watch that, by the way. I'd watch that.
I mean, who would play you in a film? Like, if we're talking, who are you choosing to play all of that?
You know, that's a tough question.
Who would play young?
Is a great. I think Idris Elba would probably be my number one choice.
Of course, I see it. I see it.
Similar guys. I think that would probably be
both very down to earth people. You know, both
exactly.
You know, and then who would play Heather?
Oh my God, like a pile of trash that's on fire.
I could see Idris Elba in a diarrhea t-shirt. I think that would be worth just watching the film on its own.
Listen, I don't want to say too much, but I'm working on it.
I mean, so there's a lot to unpack, really. I feel like there's a lot that's happened. I mean, it was about 6 schools in about a time there. Obviously, Heather made a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we start?
I want to say like sort of like the early life sort of school stuff. What were you like as a child? Sort of you're switching schools constantly. What was that like for you? Were you quite like cheeky, chatty, misbehaved, shy? What sort of child were you like?
A little bit. I was always like, I was kind of chubby growing up and everything, you know. I was kind of like a weird dude. I didn't really have a ton of friends, but that was always the same, right? I'm just kind of a weird dude in general, right? And until like after a while, I started noticing all my buddies, they were like starting to talk to girls, and I was like a fat little kid, and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So they, can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I said, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And then I said, you know, let's start working out. So as I started working out, now they started getting more confidence. I realized you can just be a weird dude, and people will like you if, you know, you dress well and you're a confident guy. So I continued to be a weird dude. But I didn't have a lot of friends growing up until I got to the all-boys school. Then things started to really click.
Well, talking of all-boys school, so like, I mean, I don't know what it was like in Canada, but I went to an all-boys school here in England. And it's only one of 6 in the country, and you went to an all-boys school as well.
Yeah.
My experience in an all-boys school, I bloody loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. It was fantastic. So immature. I don't know about you, it's very immature.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. I loved it. In fact, like, hold on, let me turn.
That's what you want at that age.
You're going to hear a beat?
Yeah.
That's what you want. You just
making
want
sure
Sorry,
I'm just making sure my phone's charging. Give me 1 second. There we go.
That's fine.
I lost you guys.
We can cut it.
Holy shit. We're off the rails here.
You're not driving at the same time, are you?
There we go. Now we're good.
Perfect.
Lovely. No, I mean, all-boys school. Go on, you must have some great stories. I mean, I know I have some great stories in an all-boys school.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Just like, you know, it was just a lot of fun. My best friend, when I was growing up, was a British guy, too. So, I mean, he'd always bring the banter over, as he would put it. Like, he fucking brought his culture from going somewhere else. One of my other best friends is Russian, so he brought his culture down. It was just like a huge shit show of fun. Every single day, it was awesome.
It's like the United Nations in your school. Your one was British, your best friend friends British, you've got a Russian guy. You've got them all together. I mean, a boys' school so much fun.
Yeah, it's just
A boys'
constantly
school is so
going,
much fun, man.
go in, just piss about,
relate.
come out, go again.
It's just, and the thing is, there's zero boundaries either.
Yeah.
Like zero boundaries.
Yeah, I know, exactly, man. Like, listen, they're gonna be so mad that I'm saying this out loud, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't really smoke weed anymore. Like, I get really paranoid. Like, I just can't do it. Like, you age out of it, right? But when I was in boys' school, it was kind of like, you know, all the boys are trying out. Like, oh, let's try some weed. Shit, it's legal again.
Yeah.
So let's try it out. So we take this little vape and go in the bathroom, and like literally at school we'd do it. And then it's only a couple times, but just the risk and thrill of like all the boys getting together and doing crazy shit, right? Like lighting aerosol cans on fire in the bathroom, and the teachers just be like, "Well, there's nothing we can do," you know, like this boys will be boys, and that's why it's fun, right? There's no like, and in all boys school, there's no competition to get all the girls, right? So it's just guys hanging out. You know what I mean?
Have you got like one story from a boys' school?
Anything
A
to do with
standout
like
story.
Anything to do with like pissing off teachers, anything like that, anything.
Anything that
There
really
was
makes you
one.
comfortable?
If you ask anybody in that school when I was there was one event that nobody will ever forget. And nobody will ever forget. One day, you know, we're all in class and we hear like a scream from the bathroom, right? We're like, what the fuck was that? So naturally, like, all the boys just left class. I mean, I think even the teachers were like, all right, go. We need to find out what the fuck that was. But it was like an exciting scream, like, this is awesome kind of scream.
Not like a I'm getting murdered scream that we shouldn't
No.
go.
It was like
Unless that's
shit. It's like someone's finding oil, right? Like, it was like a huge scream. Everybody goes in the bathroom. I'm talking, there must have been like 50 dudes in the bathrooms lining around stalls. So I'm pushing people out of the way.
That sounds a bit dodgy, man. I'm not going to lie to you. 50 dudes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. Everyone's like staring in the stall, but nobody's in the stall. So I'm like, what's going on? I push people out of the way. And I look, and there's like what looks like a dragon egg poop that won't flush. And it became like, that alone was weird. But then it became the rest of the year, there's like conspiracies of like, who took the poop?
It's like a cheese touching, could dive and win or something like that.
The janitor had to come in and break it up. It was exciting. But it was just an exciting moment. I remember like the mystery of that entire year was based around this one thing. It was like a huge event. And the next year everybody forgot about it, whatever, until
there you go.
another scream. Everyone's like, what the hell happened? We all go back in. There's two side by side. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? So now we narrow down the culprits. Because it couldn't have been someone who was graduating, because there's two of them now.
Yeah.
The rest of the year, people lost a lot of friends from mistrust from that. I mean, why would you lie about taking the poo? Was it you who did it? We don't even know what it was. It might not have been, it could have been a fucking potato. Like, nobody knew. Nobody wanted to get close to. And that was like the big event, the big conspiracy that should have made the papers but never did.
The thing I want to...
Who was behind it? Did you ever find out who was behind it?
I personally have a theory, and I don't think anyone can argue. I think I know who was a man named Andrew, and he was a sneaky guy. Didn't really, kind of kept to himself a little bit. But allegedly, he was the only one who came out of the bathroom that day. Around the same time, and no one ever said anything about it, but I knew.
Are you sure?
I knew who it was.
Are you sure it wasn't yourself? Is this like blaming Andrew just to cover up your own actions?
Let me tell you something. Andrew's a big boy. I wouldn't be walking for weeks. Like, it was you wouldn't believe.
It was that big. Like, what are we talking, right? If we had to put it up next to something,
yeah.
Like, what are we talking?
If it's
imagine like half the size of like an American football.
Jesus Christ!
That's big.
Fuck me.
And what I want to know is why they were screaming, and now the answer's why, because they were probably screaming in agony.
Oh yeah.
It's not pregnancy.
Oh yeah.
Me.
Well, no, I think the scream was from someone being excited to have found such a work of art.
I bet that person was very happy with their work that day. Are you sure it wasn't them that found it? Maybe, scene of the crime?
I thought about that too, but that would be like the sneakiest thing. That would be like the smoothest thing of all time. You do that, and then you scream yourself, so everyone gets hyped up, and nobody knows it was you. But in an all-boys school, it's like, you'd be hyped if that was you. Because you're like a stupid 15-year-old boy. Like, you'd love if that was you. But nobody ever did.
If the person had been found, would he have been held at, like, king level? Right?
Would he have been, like,
crowned king before? Would he have been shunned?
I think so. I think so. But then again, like I'm not convinced that they didn't just pass away shortly after. I'm not convinced, because if I think about who was in that school, there's definitely some people missing that I hadn't seen the rest of the year after that. But yeah, it was a culprit.
Realistically, in a boys' school, that's the type of stuff that just gets you like more respect from anyone else. If you actually owned up to it and came out, that's the type of stupid shit in a boys' school.
It's like, it's a scary thing, man. When people lie about, or don't lie, or don't tell the truth about something exciting. Because then, who do you trust? You know, nobody.
Moving on from poo talk. Anyway,
Great start.
We'll move on because I feel like that would be a big part of the movie. I think personally, but moving on.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about in there. You talked about your friends, and obviously we see them now in your content, and they're obviously a big part of your content. Are they friends from the All Boys School? Is it as you were growing up, you've met more people?
Yeah, a lot of friends from the All Boys School. A lot of friends who just went to different schools. You know, like Halifax is not that big, so you see them all the time. But my kind of group of friends now are all dudes who like I knew growing up but didn't go to the same school as me. People from university always stuck by, but I probably only see like 4 dudes from that school consistently now. Like, you move on, you know, you say goodbye.
Yeah, life goes on.
I'm exactly the same. I'm probably only friends with, probably a bit more.
Same.
I'm only friends with a couple of people from
Same,
school now. But you do move on and meet new people. But your friends now, then, like, you know, as Kai said, you see a lot of them in your content, and a lot of what you do revolves around, like, you know, bouncing off of them and that. How important are they to, like, kind of your sets and, like, how kind of funny your content is?
I think they're very important, right? So, like, for example, if I put out, like, something that's really, really bad, I'll probably delete it the next day. Because you have to put out sometimes, like, to get the algorithm going, you put out shit consistently. So, like, you won't always like the stuff you're putting out. But usually stuff I do with them is good, too, because it's just, like, something to bounce ideas off, right? Like, a couple of them I've known for, like, 10, 12 years plus. So it's, like, those are the guys that, like, know the good stuff, you know what I mean? So, like, I think it's really important that those guys are consistently back.
Well, I found with TikTok as well, we're doing TikTok, the algorithm, it works in a way, I've always said, it works in a way with TikTok. It's not quality, it's quantity. And that's the weird thing about the TikTok thing, whereas YouTube is the complete opposite. YouTube, you've got to be putting out banger after banger after banger, and YouTube will help you out, whereas TikTok, if you're putting video after video after video out, it's gonna that's where you're gonna get lucky in it with the TikTok algorithm. That's how it works. Like you say, you don't always like what you're putting out, but sometimes you just have to put it out, don't you, for the sake of putting it out.
Yeah, exactly. And I also have like a love-hate relationship with TikTok too, man. Like they will, like, it's not a very fair platform. Like, obviously it's done wonders for me in like terms of like opening up doors for sure. Like, I'm grateful for it, but it's not always super fair, man. Like, you'll start trends and shit, and like you'll start videos and other people will duet them or copy them and get like 80 million views and get paid because they're in the US. Like, they get paid per view there, and you're like, what the fuck?
Are you not on the Creator Fund then, Max? Do you not have it in Canada?
Well, there's only one specific that comes to mind that bothers me, and it's this thing called, I made a video a long time ago. It was 2 friends sitting in a car, maybe they'll kiss.
Yeah,
And
I've seen that,
that became like a worldwide, I'm talking billions of views, like 2 friends sitting somewhere, maybe they'll kiss. 2 friends somewhere, maybe they'll kiss. And it became like something huge, and I was like, well, come on. Like, my video didn't get that many views. Now, what the fuck is that? But, it's weird. They pick and choose, which is okay. I mean, I guess it's...
I saw your Instagram story yesterday, and there was a lot of like Instagram sites that then you said they bothered translating them, but they couldn't even like tag you and give you credit for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would get it too if I had some like obscure name that was different than my TikTok and my Instagram handle. Like, if they were like different names at each thing. But it's literally just my full name. Like, on everything, it's just my full name. That's like as easy as you can make it for people. You spend the entire time translating it into Arabic, but you can't tag me. What the fuck is that?
Where do your ideas?
It is what it is.
Where do your ideas come from then with your content? And as in, like, you know, the 2 guys sitting in a car, maybe they'll kiss, and like maybe things like you got the top, like you did the top 10 and things like that as well, and your 3 right raps. But where do those ideas come from? Like you said, you had the jokes written down for a while. Are they just things that take a while to come about? Is it just like a straight idea that you bounce off with your mates?
I'd say for the first 6 months, I had like everything already pretty much written out. Like, I was going to do stand-up for a while before the world shut down, so I pretty much had all the ideas ready. And then after that, it became more of a grind for fucking like, I'd sit in the car every day. I don't do it as much, but like when I do it, that's when like the video comes out after. Like, I know the process to make a good one now. I'll have to sit in the car and I call a couple buddies and I'll spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning driving around. You know, I'll be working out or something. I'll just stay on the phone and then we'll write for a couple hours and then we'll film. And that's when the really good stuff comes out. So like, you do have to put time in to write, right? Like, sometimes you can do stuff like naturally. The two guys sitting in the car was just like, we had no fucking ideas that day. Me and Sam were sitting there. So we put the camera on. And that was like the first take. So it was just me doing that. It was all natural stuff. So like sometimes you get the first take going, but that's a problem too, man. Like I box myself in a corner because like I wish sometimes at the beginning I was just like completely natural and just like said things that were easy to just always say over and over again.
Yeah.
But my problem is I'll start these trends and shit that'll get old after like a month because you do it so many times. Like I can't do that. Like all my stuff's different. If you do the same thing over and over again, you're more likely to get followers and views. But I can't do the same thing over and over again because like I'm not good at doing the same thing and adding little tips to it. Like I need to do completely different shit, right? Like some people are great at adding tweaks. I can't add tweaks. Like I have to do something completely different.
You're not a tweak man. You're not a tweaker.
I'm not a tweaker, man. I wish. I absolutely wish.
You really wish he was the biggest tweaker there.
What was because when you were saying like you write your own stuff, and I was thinking, oh, you must do some sort of like comedian, you know, sort of stand-up comedy. You mentioned it there. What was that like? Sort of how long did you do stand-up for, and sort of like what was that like?
I'd say 2 weeks before the world like shut down, I was living in Toronto. I tried it once, and it wasn't bad.
No one laughed, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I mean, I said a certain joke that I guess turned the audience kind of against me by accident.
What did you say? What did you say?
Well, yeah.
Okay, listen. I didn't think it was offensive. I didn't mean for it to be offensive.
Okay.
My apologies. Listen, I'll tell you guys if you cut it out of the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it's not that bad.
I'm sure to British people, I'm sure it's not that bad. We'll see.
Well, I will cut it out.
We'll cut it out. Yeah.
But just in case, you know.
We're now back on the podcast. We've come back on the podcast. That joke, I mean, it would have been absolutely fine in the UK.
Yeah,
that would have been fine in the UK, but that's funny. Great joke.
yeah. So the comedy bit. So what was not great about it then? Like what was
apart
bad?
from the joke?
Apart from the joke.
Was there any like heckling or anything
I think it's all about confidence, right? So like I at that time I didn't really have a lot. Like I never really put comedy things out, videos or anything in the world. So like you need confidence to be good at that kind of shit, right? You need to be comfortable on stage. And it was so clear that I was uncomfortable that like it's hard to laugh at a guy who's so nervous, right?
Yeah.
I think if I were to do it now, I'd probably have a lot more confidence, but you need to go it a couple more times. And maybe if the world didn't shut down, I'd still be up there working on the craft and everything. But as it stands at the moment, like I just didn't have the time to really perfect it. So
Yeah.
I maybe I'll come back to it one day. But
Maybe. And maybe and maybe don't make any.
Okay, I've got to cut that sound bit out as well.
Yeah. You mentioned you went travelling then in the UK. I mean, John's still laughing at that.
I'm still dying at that joke, man. I know you can't see me, but I've been laughing for the last like 2 minutes. That's my going.
You said you went travelling. How long did you go travelling for in the UK?
So I did that. I probably did like a semester at Queen's, and then after I left there, see, my dad was adopted, right? He was born in Wimbledon, but then when he was like 10, they moved to Canada. So when he was adopted, I guess right around the same time when I was like 18 when I went traveling, he found his birth mom finally. Like we went online, we went through all these loopholes, we found his birth mom. He found out she was from like a tiny little island called St. Helena. There's like nobody there. And we found out that he had a half brother who lived in England. So we got in contact with them, and then we just went to England, went to London first, and then we went somewhere else, man. I always forget what it's called. It's like a smaller town.
Near London?
It's near London.
Brighton.
London, it's like a small...
Brighton.
I don't reckon it'd be Brighton. How far are we talking outside of London? This is mine and John's area.
Yeah, it's not my area. I'm no.
What?
I don't know. It's like...
Was there anything there? A particular building?
He works for Virgin Trains.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, trains go all over the country, so you know that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but I think it was like a specific, like one of the places where there would be like a head office of that, I think too, because he works hard, and I think he like really moved his way up the ranks. So somewhere where there's like a big office.
Do you know how long away? How far did you travel to get there? Do you know or not?
It was something worse. Something like W was in there.
Worcester?
Wimbledon?
Close your eyes, Max, and just picture it. You know, just what you see, describe to us.
Winchester.
No, it wasn't Winchester. It might have been Winchester.
Describe to us. What you see?
B. No, S.
Sheffield.
Stratford upon Avon.
Sheffield.
Shepard or
Stratford upon Avon.
One of those two. I'm gonna
Sheffield
that later on.
We're in Sheffield. We're in Sheffield right now. So that's why we're Sheffield.
Sheffield is zero chance.
I mean, so something like that. But I mean, what was that trip like then? So did you go with your parents, or was it by yourself, or what did you think of it?
Me and my dad too, because like me and my dad, because like when I was young, like we moved to Halifax. My dad stayed in Newfoundland, so like wasn't a lot of time to bond with him later on after that. So we're like, fuck it, let's take a trip. So we take a trip. It was interesting, you know. It was interesting seeing like his birth brother for the first time. Like, it was like, holy shit, like that dude's like my uncle.
How was he? How was he? Like out of 10, what was your opinion?
Really nice guy. Oh, like he was so hospitable, man. Like I didn't know, like when I went down, because I went to London when I was a kid, but I'd never been back. So when I went back, like it was so crazy, like seeing like the houses, like how they're the same but a little bit different. Like stairs are like really steep in England, and I didn't know that. Like crazy fucking steep. The fuck, if someone falls down this bitch, like they're dead.
Was that enough workout for you? It was like climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I went up those on all fours, man. Like the ground doesn't work like that. But I go there, it was a lot of fun, man. Like just seeing like culture that's pretty similar to Canada, but just different in certain ways. Like the hotel we were staying at in London, it was like right at the end of this bridge, and the next week, like literally 3 days after we left, there was a stabbing on that bridge, which is so crazy because we walk over that every single day.
Yeah.
I forget where that was though.
It's probably London.
It was London Bridge because there was a massive,
Yeah.
massive thing around it.
Yeah, it was a stabbing there, and I was like, wow, like it's just little tiny differences, and it's like it was cool. You know, like all the candy down there, it's like guys have these brands, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like that is the most insane candy bar I've ever seen in my life. Like it was sick. Like it was awesome to go.
Like it's all different. I don't know if it's so in America, but like your Milky, like I know in America the Milky Ways are like Mars bars, isn't it? Stuff like that.
Well, it's just the
but another thing too is like, do you guys like eat Milky Ways down there?
Yeah.
You eat Mars bars and Milky Ways.
Milky Ways and Mars bars.
Yeah, Milky Ways and Mars bars.
It's like we do have Milky Ways here, but nobody eats them. So like,
what?
Eat Milky Ways.
You to be fair, you can't go to the shop and buy a Milky Way though. They don't really have them in the shop.
Their Milky Ways are Mars bars.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. It's so kind of like the
right, where we in some places, Max, they have deep fried Milky Ways.
So it just blows me away. Like it's the little things. Like you're like, wow, like what a place. You know, it's just like that's what I noticed.
What was your best moment? Best moment in England? Standout highlight?
We went to Stonehenge, and I was like, oh wow, you can just fucking walk up to the stones, but nobody does. Like there's no fence. There's like a piece of yarn. And I'm like, why is nobody touching the damn stone? There wasn't even any sign that said don't touch the stone, but everybody just respected the stone and touched them.
God, that's a weird.
Did you touch the stone or did you leave it alone?
I was scared. I was like, why? Nobody else is fucking touching it. I'm like, there must be some shit on that stone. You know?
I can imagine just coming over to England like on this massive trip and just seeing these fucking rocks and thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? Do you think you could live in England for like maybe like a year or so? Do you think you'd be able to hack
if you had to live in England.
change like how long do you think you'd be able to live for?
Look at his face. The face of pain.
I'll probably get my British passport soon. I think just because it's good to have two anyway, and I can because like my dad's from there and shit. So I can see myself living down there for sure. I don't know where I live. I mean, like I probably wouldn't want to live in London. Like it's a little bit too. I don't love big cities, right? Like I like medium-sized cities.
Describe to us like the ideal place, and we'll
tell you what
we'll select a place that we think
we're like housing agencies. You come here, so Max.
So Max, come and take a seat down. Get comfortable. Would you like a cup of tea, anything like that?
I would love.
Okay.
But we don't have one.
We don't have one, unfortunately. But go on, describe to us your perfect place. What do you think?
I want a place that's like you can go in and there's a feeling of a big city in one part, but you drive for literally 5 minutes and now you're in a nice neighborhood. You drive for literally 5 minutes, now you're in a highway. You drive for 5 minutes more and now you're in the countryside but surrounded by trees. You drive for 5 minutes more, there's a golf course. So like about everything in one. That's what I like.
I'm just saying,
Max, where we live at the moment might be your ideal place.
It might be genuinely.
Not that you want to come live with us or anything.
Yeah. You can sleep on the sofa if you want, mate. But
it's better than I'm sleeping in a fucking car, so it's better than
no, Sheffield. I'd say city. Sheffield's a city.
Even out of Manchester, I was thinking. Manchester's
way too big.
There is actually a Halifax in England as well.
Yeah.
Halifax
there
in
actually
England.
there actually is there is a Halifax in England as well.
I don't
so you
think
might
it's
be able
probably
to-
as nice as the Halifax.
Halifax in England's nice.
It's not Halifax.
It's up north, right next to where we are now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
people.
So-
I think I watched the show. My mom watched the show about Halifax in England, and I mean, like, it looks like a great place, but I don't know if it's my kind of.
It's very small. It's a very small town.
But Sheffield,
Yeah, it's a little bit too small.
Yeah.
10 minutes out, you're in green, aren't you? You're in the
Yeah,
Peak
yeah,
District.
yeah.
Lovely mountains, an amazing lake.
Yeah.
You know, a very. It's a
Where is King's Cross?
Oh, that's
London.
London.
That's London.
That's
That's
London.
London.
That's London.
That's in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
Busy, very busy.
You
very busy.
go there between any time, like 9 a.m. to like midnight on the train.
Yeah.
There, rammed.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's
rammed.
busy.
Yeah.
So you won't get your
Maybe
peace
I
and
wasn't
quiet
there
there.
because like when I was in a big station, and
Yeah.
I thought it was King's Cross, but it wasn't that busy when I was there. I was trying to
It might be
because
because that's where it's got like the platform 9 and 3. Is that what the?
Yeah,
You might, it depends on Sundays. If it was a Sunday, who knows? But me, I
Do you
mean,
guys hate Harry? Do you guys like Harry Potter?
I don't mind it. I think they're a good set of films. They're not my favourite set of films, but
see, Matt, a lot of people say I look like Ron Weasley. Especially when I was younger. Like, hang on, let me. It's me again. Look, what do you think? Do you see it?
I mean,
Context.
I can see why they would say it.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing you dirty.
I'll just say yes, Max. Say yes.
I think you look better than Ron Weasley. No offense to Ron Weasley.
No. I mean, Ron Weasley would be lucky, really,
He's
to
an
be
avid
compared to
listener.
me.
That's what I'm saying.
Is
That's what I'm saying. Ron Weasley doesn't hold a candle.
I mean, it happened once. I went to Paris once, and I'll put you back there. Sorry, there, Matt. There you go. Oh shit. We went to Paris once, and we were in Paris, and I think we went to McDonald's on the Champs Elysees. And I'm sitting with Nan and Grandad, and these two this American family come up to me, all seriousness, and they come to me like, "Excuse me, are you the Harry Potter actor Ron Weasley?" Dead serious. They're not joking. They're being deadly serious. And I have to go. I'm like, no, I'm not. I was tempted to go along with it, but I should.
Were they French?
No, they were Americans. They were actually American. They thought I was like the Harry.
Oh my god.
They thought I was.
Let me tell you something. Americans. I'm gonna sound so offensive when I say this.
I'll go for it.
A lot of the Americans who travel, like, you know, I'm gonna hold my peace. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna get into it, but it's a lot of them are great. I love a lot of them, but a lot of them are just that's what they
It's the
do.
same anyway,
They go
though.
around-
Have you had
they
any
go around
weird?
and ask people.
Have you had any weird have you had any weird interactions yourself? Like people coming up to you, sort of asking for photos.
Fans or
Any kind of weird stuff like that?
Comparing you to someone.
Weird interactions.
Yeah. No one really thinks of, like, I got Joe Jonas once. That was like when I had like long hair and he had long hair when I was like young, but
Nice.
yeah, Halifax is just a big enough city too. Like if someone's popping up at all, then everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you had good interactions like with people when people are seeing?
yeah, all good.
Do you get a lot of them?
a guy, yeah, I get like, I probably get, you know, a while ago at the peak of everything, like now it's starting to come back a little bit and go on a little bit harder at it, but for a while it was like a couple times a week. Now it's probably like once a week someone will shout something from the car and I'll be like, what's up? But not a lot, but like a good amount, like probably a couple times a week, once a week, something like that.
I mean, so coming back, you know, from England, you've had your trip at England, you've enjoyed yourself. We're gonna go back, and you said you come back, and you said then you tried to go, you went to university. Was that right? Straight after?
I did. I went to university in Bishops in Quebec. It was a hell of a good time. You know, you see it was just a really good group of people. I got lucky.
Yeah, I was like
Have
saying.
you got any good stories of like nights out, holidays abroad with mates, anything like that?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Just like in general, it was just like the classic university experience, right? Like the stress exams, like the partying when you shouldn't be partying, just like shit like that. It's like really a lot of fun stuff, you know. Like I think the one thing that was really interesting. You ever heard of Hell's Angels?
Hell's Angels.
I've heard of that.
Is that what, a TV program?
No, it's like a biker game.
Oh yes, the bike gang, Hell's Angels. Yeah.
So like they maybe they're only like they're huge in like certain parts of North America and like in the States and Canada, but like they started 2 blocks up from like where my campus was in the university, right? So the second year I was there, like a bunch of the heads got out of jail because they served their 20-year sentence or whatever, and they got out of jail, right? And the second year they were there, it was like everything was like whipped into shape. Like there was no break-ins. Like They took care of all the crime, and it was just the craziest thing to see this biker gang. It's like rebellion. There's always one guy standing around at parties, like dancing with everybody. He was like 40, super shredded, sunglasses always, half bald. But nobody messed with him because they're like, that guy just watching out, making sure nothing's going down. And it was like, that was a cool thing. But I mean, besides, it's just like a classic university experience, right?
Yeah, just I mean, we're doing it.
Yeah,
right now.
So we haven't, because obviously of like COVID and stuff. We haven't been in a club at uni yet, which is just like weird.
Wow,
so
true.
weird. It's so weird because we're first year. It's so weird.
We've had like, you know,
Yeah,
we've done parties.
It
We've had
was
parties
when we cut,
Yeah.
because we're in bubbles with our group. So we're in a bubble, so that's why we can film it in person together. So it helps in that aspect.
But it's my 19th in a week and a half, and it's the first time pubs are gonna be open for my 19th. Yeah. Are you gonna be there, Max? You gonna be there?
I might have a flat book, but I don't want to say anything. You know, always know. It's all good.
You shouldn't. But I mean, yeah, I just want to go back in a bit. You said about the fact that, I mean, I think I was reading up a bit. I was doing my research, and it said that you grew up in a single household, and you obviously just said that you moved away. And I think, I mean, I sort of, I mean, for the last couple of years, I've known how that feels, and I just wanted to know the importance of like your mum, and like I know in the article it said like the importance of like the mum, like your mum's had on your life in general and where it is today. If you could just talk us through a bit about that.
Yeah, I think I got lucky too, you know, because like my mom and my parents split. Like my mom was always the breadwinner at the beginning, right? So like I was never really had to go through the struggles of like being super. Well, when I was a little baby, I did, but I don't remember that. So like I was just kind of growing a single mom, but I think the problem was she was running a big business while raising me and my brothers. So I mean, yeah, there were times I could be a huge shithead because like I thought I could get away with it because she's so much on her plate, but me and her are really close, right? Like my brother, when I was 16, my brother went away to travel like to Europe and then go to university. So like it was just pretty much me and her for years and years, right? So I think it was really important. And like kind of out of nowhere, she just became a lesbian. I was like, all right, hype, do your thing. And then she started dating a woman for like 6 years. It was just like me and her are really close. You know, I think everyone should be close to their moms because moms will always tell you the right thing to do, but they won't always find the exact right way to say it. But in general, they always have your best interest in heart.
How was lockdown been with your mum then? Because I know she's involved in like your content now, and you do videos of your mum.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, for a while, like I'm actually just finding a new place. Probably next week, I'm finally moving out because in Toronto, I had my own place, and I was still paying rent for like because I just signed a 2-year lease when I was in Toronto. So like the entire year and a half that I was in Halifax, I was paying rent in Toronto. So I couldn't find a place down here because like me and her were locked down together. But it was a lot of fun, you know, like. She knows, I'm gonna go to like hang out, ask her to make some videos, and she's always down to do it. Obviously, it's like both separate lives. We're living in the same house now. It's gonna be sad to move out again. It's like almost like leaving for university all over again. Because like we come back, but she's pretty good at that. She won't say certain things in videos, which is understandable. She has a business to run, but. That's pretty much the only time we really fight is over that kind of stuff.
I was gonna say, what does she like think of your videos? Like doing them? Is she like easily approachable? What do you like her and like your mates and sort of rest of your family think of like the videos you do and stuff like that?
I think. Wait, can you say it again?
Oh, do you not hear? So sort of like what's like your mum like when you sort of ask her to do a video and stuff like that? Is she quite approachable to do a video? What are your other friends and family like when you do videos with them?
Yeah, I think so. My mom's pretty approachable. The only problem is like she's like her business is advertising, right? So like she's always been like the head of an advertising agency. So the problem with her, like she'll do it, but she'll only do 3 takes, and then she'll try and like edit things in the middle of them. I'm like, oh, like what are you doing? Like I have one thing I need you to do, please. And she'll be like, okay, what about this? Like, Ma, I love you. Come on. Sometimes I do it, and sometimes it's great. So like she's usually pretty approachable. Like my buddies are usually really approachable too. Yeah. But in fact, there's only one time I had one idea my friends wouldn't do, and that's literally it. Like so, usually they'll be pretty approachable, work on ideas together. But I think it's pretty easy. Like Halifax is a good place to be creative because everyone around you is like just so willing to just kind of have fun, you know?
Was I mean, 2 things then. So like on your mum, obviously being in a single household and seeing her run her own business. I mean, was that? It must be very inspirational for you, and especially when you kind of like life maybe your life hasn't gone as straightforward as possibly it could have. So was that really inspirational for you, kind of in like the ups and downs?
Yeah, Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. You know, seeing her really grind it out to get that money done and put her kids through university and private school and shit, it was like, damn, you're a boss ass bitch. Like, it was hype, you know? But yeah, it kind of made me realize, like, I have to do my own thing. It's like, I'd see her always being the boss of certain things. I was like, man, I want to be a boss too. You know, I didn't understand it for a while, why she was like, serious all the time, but like fun other ways. But like when it came to business, she's so serious. It's like, okay, I got to take that lesson. So a lot of lessons were learned from seeing her kind of take care of the family like that. I think it was definitely inspiration.
In terms of your family, then, because obviously when we taught you through your life, you mentioned the things like of the mayor and the IBS. How was your family's reception of, for example, running for mayor? What did they think of it, and how did you introduce it to them? You just sit down, I'm running for mayor, or you know?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. Like for me, it's almost like half the time if someone tells me like, I don't know if you should do that, like it's not a great idea. That's like the one thing I want to do. It's like, well, I'm obviously going to do it now.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have said that.
It kind of makes you
I
want to
think
do
at
it more.
first, at first they were kind of hesitant because they didn't know what I was doing. Like my whole goal was just to like get people to vote, right? That was my whole get young people to vote.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was going in from the get-go to do that. And on my campaign team was my ex-girlfriend. We'd broken up recently before that, which was so stressful.
I saw that. I was doing the research and I saw that it was like in when you were, I think you had an article, it's like your friends, and you put ex-girlfriend. I was like, that must have been very, very awkward. That must have been very.
That was we're good now, but like in terms of just breaking up and then doing the campaign, it was like, why is this happening? My mom, like I love my mom to death, but like it was pretty much me, my mom, her, and another guy who was like, just we found him. He was like very politically engaged. He was kind of helping us adult thing, just us, and then the other two guys running had like huge teams. Well, one of them didn't really have that much of a team. One of them was like just him in every position. Like on a website, you could see all like campaign manager, blah blah blah, like finance manager, blah blah. And I had like 3 names listed. The mayor now, Mike Savage, had like 20,000 names listed, and this other guy was running against Matt Whitman, just him over and over again. He was such a renegade. That guy was hilarious. Yeah, at first it was really stressful, but then we kind of got into the hang of it. It became a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend it, but it's going to be bad.
How did you do?
Everybody. Like you'll get DMs. What's that?
How did you do? Did you do all right in terms of voting polls, or?
Yeah, I did. It was weird because like I got a lot of my friends to sign up too, and like a lot of young people in the city signed up. They didn't necessarily vote for me, a lot of people, because like I pretty much said the whole time, like I don't care who you vote for, just vote, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty clear that the mayor was going to win again. I came 3rd out of 3. Yeah, I know. That was a great move. But
wait, did the guy that was running everything by himself beat you?
He was a genius for one thing.
That's a yes.
He did. Yes, he did. But there's one thing he did, and I will always commend him for it. I didn't go to the outskirts of town in like the boonies, right? Like I didn't go to the countryside. Not because I was lazy. It's just like I knew old people wouldn't vote for me. So there's no point in going. That man was there every single day. So if you look at a map of where people won, like all over the city, I came second in the downtown core everywhere, but the second you get out of the city, I lost. Everywhere. I couldn't have lost worse.
So basically you won then. So
Yeah,
basically
you won. Yeah,
basically you won.
basically
Discounting
you
the
So
old.
I mean, basically it was rigged.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Why didn't you back yourself with the old people? Turn a bit of the charm, you know, with Doris in the old people's home.
You could have done the dwarf joke in front of them, then, or like that.
It was a hard thing. It's like it's not because I just didn't have the time. Like if I had more of a big team, I definitely would. But honestly, I didn't even think about it. Like I just thought I had already lived up there, and I talked to a lot of them, but there were just things we saw differently. You know what I mean? Like so, there's nothing against them. Obviously, their opinions are crazy important too because they still live in Halifax. But if the campaign had been longer, I definitely would have to see what their point of view was. But I was so focused on trying to get people my age to vote because they never do that I was just focused on that.
Was that like the main thing, like trying to convince young people to vote, or did you have to come up with like a full-on like manifesto, like I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this? Was any of it like properly serious, or was any of it sort of just like taking a piss?
Yeah, no, it was obviously like I said the whole time, like in fact the whole time I didn't really post on TikTok. At the begining, someone's like, "Oh, is it a TikTok publicity thing?" I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm not even gonna mention TikTok." And not just that, I'm not even gonna post about it. No one's gonna even know about TikTok anywhere else in the world. So fuck you, which is not like I definitely should have, because it would have been hilarious.
You would have won.
I did.
You would have won.
Yeah, maybe I would have won. But just despite people who said that, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And the goal was just to get young people to vote, and they did. But it was hard, man. It was fucking hard. You know?
No. After you, Kai.
Cheers. No.
That's all
I
right.
was just going to say, obviously, you say it was hard, and I can imagine it's stressful. It's not something that I really want to do myself, especially when you've got everything else balancing on your plate. What would you say was the biggest thing you learned from that then, coming out of that? Like, obviously, big things like that do, even when as you get older, you never stop learning. So what was the one thing that probably you learned from that moving forward?
There are two things, like you can approach, like I learned that you can approach really serious stuff kind of a fun light to make it easier to digest, which is what I ended up doing for a lot of the stuff. And there's a couple things, like you learn a lot about like the way cities are run. Like it's pretty brutal in terms of like what actually goes on behind the scenes, like where taxpayer money's going, and you're like, the fuck, like I'm paying tax for this. It's like you learn all that shit, and like some of it I did bring to life, but like I just wanted to focus on voting towards the end. Like, so I did mention all these things, but like in passing, just so like I knew the mayor would hear me mention it, because I knew he was gonna win. But if I were to do it again, like, holy shit, I'll be tearing the goddamn house down. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that people don't know about. I think in every city that's like people should probably know about.
Is there ever an opportunity?
Are you tempted to run again? Are you tempted to run for it again?
Yeah, I mean, there's a small position in Halifax recently for an MLA, which is like, it's another political position you'd run, but you'd run for a party instead of like just the city itself. I was thinking about it, I was thinking it's not the right time. Like, I really want to get like everything together and collect all my thoughts before I just jump right in, I'll probably run for mayor again next time because, I like Mike. He's a great guy. But the guy's he doesn't do anything. And like, I'll probably send him this clip. Because really nice guy, but buddy, do something, bro. Like, we went out for breakfast in the middle of the campaign. I don't know what the hell that was about. Like, really nice, don't get me wrong. We sit down, I'm like, oh, it's a nice breakfast, me and Mike. I order a nice big plate of food. The guy orders a black coffee and a piece of toast. What kind of mind games are you playing with? What are you doing? And I'll never forget that.
Did that throw you off? Were you sitting there thinking, fuck this guy's serious?
It absolutely did. The guy's like 6'4", 300 pounds. Like, obviously he eats more than black coffee and a piece of toast. Like, he's not fooling anybody with that goddamn breakfast order. So it's not like it threw me off, but like I was thinking, you know what? You wait 4 years, buddy. I'm coming back for you. You just changed my whole life.
You'll be the one drinking black coffee and a piece of toast next time.
Yeah. Oh my god! Next time he's there, I'm gonna order 4 black coffees. That's it.
It should be like you should be like the logo of your campaign, just like
4 black coffees and a piece of toast.
I feel bad. Like, super nice guy, don't get me wrong. Like, he does a lot of stuff, yes, but in general, like, come on.
He just doesn't like a lot to eat or drink. He just doesn't like to eat or drink.
What is then? You're running for mayor 4 years' time. What is the number one thing you're going for? What's the thing? What's going to be the spearhead of like your campaign?
Just transparency. I want everybody to know everything that's going on at all times. Like, I want people to know how much the mayor makes. I want people to know, because he makes a fuck ton of money. I want people to know every deal that goes on behind the scenes.
Is that why you ran for it?
What?
Is that why you ran for it? Because he makes a fuck ton of money?
No, I didn't even know that until halfway through the campaign. And like, at that point, I probably should have stepped up a little more. I got it. But I found that out, and I was like, what? He makes more than the mayor of Toronto? Like, I found that shit out, and I was like, how?
What was the best moment then from running of mayor? Like the standout moment, the one that was maybe meant the most to you, was the funniest. Like, what was it?
Yeah, it was the campaigning. I think because of my ex-girlfriend was like one of the ones organizing the campaign. Oh, all right, we're back. Because of my campaign, ex-girlfriend was one organizing like places for me to go, campaign, hand out T-shirts. And it was just me going. She'd always set up these things, and I was like, why the fuck am I here? Like, you knew what you were sending me into. Why would you send me here? And one of them was oh my god. Like, you're really not even going to believe it is true, but I'll say it anyway.
Yeah.
It was, she sends me to this place, and she's like, hey, you have to go hand out T-shirts at this place. And I was like, all right, for sure. And I go in, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I've never been to this part of town. Like, it was like down, like, a secret place. There's like a secret door they buzz you into. And I go in, it's like almost looks like a spa, but all like red lights everywhere, right? And this guy comes out and he's dressed like a white Allen Iverson. And he's like, hey, thanks for coming. Like, I want to talk to you about some of the issues. Like, can I show you around? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. After I start walking, I'm like, no way this is what I think it is. Like, there's no fucking way I'm here right now. And I was so mad at Emma, but like, I ended up laughing at it later. It was like a bathhouse where men go to have anonymous sex with each other. So the whole time this guy's telling me about the issues, like, I'm not kidding. Literally the whole time he's telling me about the issues. By the way, his issues were wanting to open up more strip clubs in Halifax. That was his issue. But there's gay porn blaring behind his screen, right? Behind his head. And I'm like, that's fine. You know, like, to each his own. I have no problem with that. By all means, but I just did not expect it. It's like hard to walk into an environment where you didn't expect any kind of porn blaring anywhere. And we're walking around, it's like a 25-minute tour. He goes, here's the dungeon over here. I'm like, okay, fantastic. Shirt, enjoy a t-shirt. He's like, over here are the glory holes. And I'm like, are you serious? Why am I in a place with this glory hole? Like, so the campaigning was definitely the best part, by far.
So I'm just struggling to like, and he's gone. Wait, I'm struggling to get my head around this. You walked in, all serious campaigning. You're surrounded 360 vision by gay porn, gay, you know, everywhere. There's a lot of strip club, glory holes, everything. What is going through there? What are you thinking?
I mean, at first I was thinking like, because I was like in a political mode, right? So I was thinking like, obviously I don't want to be.
Wait, did you turn up in a suit? Did you turn up in like an actual?
No, I usually wore my little campaign shirt, a nice pair of pants, and like a nice little jacket. That's what I usually wore, right? Mm-hmm. So I go in like to be like political. At first, I walk in and I was like, "Oh, there's gay porn playing. Like, I'll be professional. Like, let him know that like that's okay that this is happening. Like, I support everybody because I do."
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, wait a second, if any kind of porn is playing, that is not like what the fuck is going on. Like, as I was there, I started to realize like what is happening. And thank God it was like 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, so not many dudes were in there banging each other. Or not anybody. I think anybody can go in and bang each other.
Anybody can have sex.
Yeah,
anybody can go in and bang each other, just so happened to be dudes that day. So there was like just a naked guy walks right past. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It was like the grossest looking man I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, wow, okay, you want a t-shirt, buddy? Enjoy. It was
What did he do with the t-shirt? Did he wear it?
I don't want to know. I did not want to know what he did with that t-shirt. I mean, I'm sure it was put to good use.
Did you get his vote or the guy on the strip?
I don't think so. It's crazy. After all that, I can genuinely say I don't think I got that good.
All worth it then. All worth it. All worth it. I wanted to ask sort of like before we sort of move on to like the ball and stuff like that. On sort of moving away to like sort of TikTok and stuff. Who are like the most famous people that you've sort of interacted with? Because I saw on one of your TikToks, I think Jason Derulo commented on one of them or something ridiculous like that. Have you any other famous names?
Yeah, like David Dobrik. You guys know who?
Yeah. We know David Dobrik. Yeah.
So me and him were like pretty close. Like we text and FaceTime all the time. And like before the big scandal broke,
oh yeah, cool.
I was supposed to go down there. Like I don't know how much I can actually say, but I was supposed to hang out with those guys. But obviously all this stuff took place, and it's like wow, that's crazy. Like I guess that opportunity. I didn't expect. Honestly, when that stuff came out, I was like, I don't expect any of this.
Yeah, I mean,
like.
Obviously, Trip, but do you still keep in like contact with him now, after everything that's happened?
No, I mean, like after all the whole scandal broke, I did send him a text, and I was like, I do feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's like, buddy, you did make a huge mistake. Like, I wasn't like scolding him or anything, but I think it was just like I wanted to know, like, this sucks, but just keep your head up and like you'll figure it out. Like, don't be. Like, just do better.
Yeah.
Like,
he'll bounce back.
Honestly, I don't think he's a bad dude. I think he just got caught up in
a mistake.
Do you think he will bounce back?
I think he'll
be. Okay, like eventually.
Yeah, I think if he makes the right moves and just like does better as a human being, then he'll bounce back. Like, he's got to do some serious reflection,
Yeah, is there anyone else like that you keep in contact with?
Not really. I mean, like, there's a couple of celebrities who like will follow each other, but like I don't really message them. Like, I'm trying to think of people who we follow. Like, I follow like me and Addison Ray follow each other, but like I never really sent a message. When I was talking to Dobrik, he's like, you should just DM her.
Yeah.
Never tried you not.
She's single now. Isn't she single now?
It's coming.
Isn't she single now? I think him and Bryce.
Look at his face up there. Your face. Oh, is she? Oh, okay, I got a message up.
There's a little lean forward into camera. Oh, is she?
I think her
Look
and
at that
Bryce.
cheeky grin. Look at that grin.
I think her and Bryce did split up. Yeah, I think her and Bryce did split up.
I mean, so I mean, you don't keep, you don't know nothing from Drake and The Weeknd being Canada's third famous man.
You know, not yet. I think I got a little bit more growing to do at that point. I mean, every now and then Jason Derulo will comment, but he doesn't follow me. So I mean, he's
a fake
the
fan.
equivalent. You know, that's the equivalent to ordering black coffee and a piece of toast.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah, if Jason Derulo's watching this, you know, Jay, please follow him. You know, there's a small chance. Yeah, small chance, Jason.
You know, he is watching. Anytime his name is mentioned, he's like Beetlejuice, bro. He appears. You know, so he knows.
He's there. I mean, so then, as for your own like sort of career, then you were meant to go back to Toronto, but never did. Where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself going down the social media side? Because I know you set up a YouTube channel a couple of months ago. Is that kind of where you kind of see your career going, or do you see it more down the line?
Maybe. I mean, like, it was never really a huge aspiration for me. Like, it's definitely a good launching point to just do it. If I want to get into advertising or anything, like, I think it's a good starting point to just have a collection of any sort of, just a bunch of videos that people like to do anything else. But I don't know, man. I'd like to write for something is the goal, but we'll see. Maybe advertising, but hey, man, I guess we'll find out.
You'll see. Are you moving? Are you staying in Halifax then, or will you be moving back to Toronto?
I'll stay here for the time being, I think, right? Like, I just found a nice little place. I think right now, like, if I do want to get into politics, like, I was working on I was being, like, a youth advisor for certain campaigns. Like, I'll probably still do that for a little bit. And then, you know, when Prime Minister comes knocking, like, yeah, I'm taking the fucking job.
So in life and on TikTok in general, so, like, what are for people listening, people in general, what are your kind of like 3 biggest lessons in life if you could give to someone growing up, you know, bouncing back and forth, trying to find their thing, or just in general going through a hard time? What are the 3 things you would say to them?
I would say the biggest, most important lesson of all is if you're embarrassed or nervous to do something, ask yourself, does it hurt anybody? Is it offensive to anybody? Does it make you look like an idiot? And if the first 2 answers are no, and the third one is yes, then 100% of the time do that thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to be willing to look like an idiot sometimes, because if you know you look like an idiot, then you're swimming. You're great. So don't have any shame. It's like the second thing. Let me just do 2 things.
Okay.
A French man once told me this. Okay.
Is he actually French?
The French guy said to me, "Dad's French," but the son of a French man once told me. He came up to me. There was like a little gathering, and he was like hammered and put his arm on my shoulder, and he goes, "You know, Max, you embody the phrase that my father always say to me." And his father's like worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
And he's French.
I'm like, what's that? He is. I know. He's French, and he says, I forget the saying in French, but essentially it's like, no shame. You do things with no shame. So whatever you do it with no shame. And sometimes it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, well, you got no fucking shame about it. So you're swimming, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of live our life.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
I'm very much like...
That's good.
I think me and you...
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. Like, you just kind of... You got to go for it, innit? You kind of got to not care, really.
No,
like, you just
you gotta not care. Like, listen, if nobody's getting hurt, and it's a harmless thing... Yeah. Fucking have no shame about it. Enjoy yourself.
Too many people are worried about, like...
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
stuff. I mean, and then what about as for TikTok as well then? Like, for growing on TikTok, so you've accumulated a lot of followers now. What would your be like on how to grow, and especially on the comedy aspect?
I think if you make enough stuff and you put enough stuff out there that you laugh at, you're bound to find people who will also laugh at it. But if you're putting stuff out that you think just because it's popular, or if you're putting stuff out just because you think people will laugh at it, it's going to be bad. Like, everybody's made that mistake. Like, I've made the mistake a million more times than I can count. I've deleted so many videos. But if you put stuff out that you genuinely think is funny, even if it doesn't get a fucking ton of views, even if a bunch of people don't watch it, eventually you'll find the right niche that other people think you're funny too. They'll follow you too. Like, some of the best accounts I've ever seen have like 5,000 followers. Just keep putting shit out, and eventually it'll take off. But you have to be consistent, you know.
Also, I was also looking at that's just the thing. Halifax has a lot of museums, like a lot. I did some research in Halifax, and it has a shit ton of museums, like maybe too many.
Yeah, there's like an old rug museum here as well. It just
very pointless.
Yeah.
Right, so should we move on to the board?
Yeah, we'll do the board.
Right, so basically, the board, did we do it last week? Yes, we did. No, we didn't. We did the European Super League, we memed that up. We haven't done it in a while. So basically the board, for anyone, if we have got any new watching, the board is basically something where each week we all nominate something. It can be something we love, something we hate, something we dislike, or something that's trending during the week. Pretty much, as long as you've got a reason as to why you're nominating it, you can nominate it and talk about it. You've got the floor for about 5 minutes. So I'll put the graphic on screen right now of what it's looked like in the past, from the past episode. I think it was the European Super League, so yeah, past episode on screen now. And obviously that's now come down. Should we go to Josh first?
Please don't.
Let's go to Josh first.
I'm never prepared. Go to John first.
Okay, we'll John first.
See, you guys fraud. This week I've been wanting to put it on for a while. Not any specific maybe actually like birthday cards, right? The actual cards, I don't see the point in them. I think if you have, say, like 20 birthday cards, right, you get them that, this isn't to be ungrateful, say they don't have any money inside, they all
money, I don't want straight to the bit.
They all cost about £1-2 potentially. If you send a text and then accumulate all the money that it spends on cards, you can then buy something really good with it, and I just don't see too much point.
I mean, that's fair enough.
I think if you text me and then send me a quid, I'd prefer that to a card. And that may seem really soulless.
That does make it seem very ungrateful, mate.
but just it's a waste of, postage is expensive these days. I'm sure when you're running for Air Max, postage is ridiculous anyway. Taxes on, spending money on stuff like that. Just sending a little £1 coin in a text.
Let me tell you something. I'm in. I like that.
Yes!
I agree.
So basically, you're just telling your nan, who's really put effort in, to send you birthday cards. Then nan, don't send you birthday cards, piss off.
Wait, so
Max,
so you're in with it. What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you why I agree. with that.
Nice.
Because, I get it. People who are very old, they like birthday cards more. It's something in the mail. People like getting mail, but because that's, they're lovers. They'd send each other mail in the war, and they loved getting mail. They didn't have phones back then. Guess what, Grandma? We have phones now.
Yeah.
But I think, wow, I sounded so ungrateful. I love my grandma.
It doesn't sound like
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all. But yeah, I agree. I'm not a big fan of the birthday card thing.
Okay, then I'll go now. Then. I'll go.
You shouldn't have John's idea.
No. But we're gonna go on this. You're right, Max, mate.
Oh, I got something in my eye.
Perfect, John.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. On the birthday theme.
Okay.
Normalise getting party bags with a 20-year-old birthday party.
Okay, yeah, I can back that.
Normalise it. Did you have party bags in Canada? Where you'd be an 8-year-old birthday party. Obviously not at your age now when you were 8.
I'm in.
And then you'd go and you get the party bags, you get the cake, maybe a toy in there. Some other bits involved.
There's always a Moam as well. There's always
Moam.
Sometimes yo-yos or toy cars.
No, you get past the age of when you got to secondary school, isn't it?
Yeah.
No more party bags.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I want to bring back party bags for when you're 25. Just hand them out. Have a 25-year-old birthday party and go and party.
I love it.
Can you imagine leaving a flat party at uni and you've just there's your party bag, thanks for coming.
I think everyone would love that.
Man, I love it.
That's good.
Like you're leaving the uni, you're at college, you're at uni, you're leaving the party, and someone just goes, "Here's a party bag. It's got cake. It's got a yo-yo. It's got a harmonica in it."
One of those things. No, things that blow out.
I don't know the names.
It's got all of them.
No, it's the one that with the tube that's
they blow out
the tube that's curled.
Air, but it's got confetti on the end of them.
I love
Imagine how much that would complete your night.
Imagine you hated somebody's party, you were not having a good time, you didn't like the host, you came because you were being nice. When they give you a party bag, you're going to go, wow, that was worth it. That was worth coming.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to do that.
Everyone would be on board. I don't think anyone would not want that.
That's a great shout.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Perfect.
I love it.
Brilliant. Right, so my nomination this week is completely off the theme of party bags and parties. I'm going to nominate something that Max actually mentioned when he was talking about his Life movie, and that's IBS. Because we mentioned before that, obviously Max said he went onto the news and got diarrhea printed on a t-shirt and got it on the news, which is fantastic. But also in terms of, for those who don't know, I also have IBS, and it's not great, is it? It's not the best thing in the world. It's not exactly something you'd want to get. But in terms of, you said you did the charity work and you did work with the charity. What was that like working with the charity? And obviously, because it's a good thing, it's going to affect a lot of people and it's going to have a positive effect on people's lives. What was the thinking behind that? Obviously, you said you got it yourself as well, but what was the thinking behind it?
I thought, it'd be fun if you bring it about in a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
Then people who have it won't be embarrassed to be like, listen, I gotta leave right now. We're in the middle of a conversation. I gotta go shit. Or like, you're in class. You're like, sorry, I'm out of here. It's not even because you have to poop, because your stomach hurts, And that's an embarrassing thing to talk about. You want to reach out to the charity, they were like, yeah, we approach it in a fun way. They were so funny at the charity. Because they know, like, if you take this too seriously and your messaging is too serious, well, then people are going to be embarrassed to talk about, because nobody likes talking about things that are super serious. That's why everyone approaches it in a fun way, and it's a lot easier. I'll guarantee you, most people there's bound to, like in a group of 10, at least a couple of them have some sort of digestive issue. So I'm liking this one. I love this one.
Perfect.
As for like, because this, you made it sound like this is something that you've been recently diagnosed with, or is it something that you had like your whole life?
In university.
Okay, all right. As for you, was it hard for you, kind of like being diagnosed and living with it? Because obviously I know you struggle with it, and we meet. I take the mick a little bit, but like I take the mick, but obviously it's a horrible.
Like you said, though, you got to make a light out situation. You got to.
But no, how hard? Like, was it hard to like be going through like not the diagnosis, but like having it, and when you haven't gone through it?
Kind of. Mine was it was kind of a different. It was a kind of convenient case, because like it would just mean out of nowhere my stomach would hurt, right? Like the worst part is you don't even know why it hurts. Like you don't have to go to the bathroom because your stomach just hurts, right? And you don't know why the hell that's happening. So it's just nice to have an answer to it as to why it's happening. So it really cleared a lot of things up when that happened.
Yeah.
Cool. Lovely.
Perfect.
And then
Max, your nomination.
The stage, the floor's yours.
Let me tell you something. There's one thing specifically that I want to mention that's been on my mind all day, all week. In fact, since this thing came into fruition in my life. And I hate it. And in fact, it's the only thing in the world that I genuinely don't like. It's a song. And it's called Astronaut in the Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
It is the worst song I've ever heard.
Down in the
and in fact, I want to tell everybody right now, if you listen to that song and you like it, you're not getting a party bag at the end of my party. I'm not giving you a party bag. I'm not doing it. I'll give you a birthday card when you leave. How's that?
When did you first start hearing it? Was it doing the rounds on TikTok or something? Or?
Yeah.
It was. I heard it when I was like on TikTok one day, and I heard it. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, but I can't even sing it. It's just I literally can't even say it.
About rolling. That's all I was singing, just in case you start crying.
Yeah. What is it that you don't like about it? Did it hurt you in some way?
It just you hear it and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what is he talking about? What do you know about rolling down the deep, dick? It's like, and he has all these moments. He's talking about, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Why? And he's like, oh, it's because like people keep trying to debunk it on TikTok. They're like, oh, he means that it's like deep. It means like because there's zero gravity in the ocean. Well, he's a fucking astronaut, so there's probably zero gravity in space too. So the whole thing just upsets me to a point I can't believe. Like, some people make great music. Some people go out of their way to write for years and years and create concert violin pieces that are beautiful. Some people write poetry that changes the world. This man puts out Astronaut in the Ocean, and all of a sudden everyone's going crazy. Get the fuck out of here.
Do you think if you're mayor in like 4 years' time, you'd like plan that song from like Spotify and TikTok?
I'll tell you what. If I run in 4 years' time and I hear that song, if I win, it's banned. It's banned. You can't listen to it. You can't listen to it. I don't care if people go, you can't do that. It's like a dictator thing. Well, too bad. It's good for all of us.
Have you spoken to him personally and voiced your distaste for the song? Like, not for like over on like I don't know, TikTok or social media, have you spoke to him? Does he know that you don't like it?
Well, I want to tell him. I want to reach out and be like, listen, it's nothing against you, but that is the worst song I've ever heard in my life. And I want him to know that he can do better. And I've heard some of his other stuff. Some of his stuff's great.
Okay.
He's got some great songs. But that song, it hurts me, and it hurts everyone I've ever known and ever cared about. And I want it to be gone.
For an example of shithousery, Max, an act of shithousery in this case would be if someone played that song at your funeral. So if someone decided to play that song, at your funeral, that would be an example of major shithousery.
Now, I can see what you mean, but at the same time, I think it would go against what they're aiming to do. Because if I heard that song at my funeral, this motherfucker's rising from the grave.
I was going to say, you come back alive.
Now I got a second life. Thanks a lot. I can't even think about the song without, wincing. I hate it.
That's nice.
That's a great way to end it.
Thank you so much for coming on, Max. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm sorry it ended on such a negative note.
No,
It's fine.
it's perfect.
No,
It's perfect. You've been
Cool.
to your
Great
frustrations. That's
It's been a
perfect.
good hour or so.
It's working. We'll outro it. You stay on the Zoom quickly. We'll outro it.
We'll outro it. So thank you so much for watching. It's been absolutely quality as per usual. It's been quality. It has been.
Our podcast is so
The
good.
views at the moment have been doing a lot better, so it's a big thank you to everyone that's watching, and keep on watching because there's a big stuff coming soon. But yes,
Thank you
so
for 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
as well.
110.
Yeah,
Thank
110
you.
now. Yeah.
Get in.
So make sure you've liked and subscribed if you haven't already. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you and goodbye.